portion of the meeting is set aside for anyone who wishes to comment on any item which is on tonight's agenda. If someone who would like to do so, please come forward, state your name and address. Thank you.
Just for the public's edification and in compliance with our rules and regulation, we're going to limit public comment to 3 minutes per person. We have a timer here, and I'll just let you know 30 seconds before your time is
Good evening. My name is Neil Kaufman. I live at 64 Clydesdale Road in Scotch Plains. I'm also the current president of the Scotch Plains Family Baseball League, which is youth baseball in town. I'm here to talk about some concerns that we've got relative to the proposed dissolution of the Recreation Commission. Implemented over 50 years ago, a volunteer organization that we've had a lot of success with. So there is great concern by those of us who put in lots of hours in the youth sports arena, recreation arena. They have done a great job with maintenance of facilities based on the assets that they have to deal with. We've experienced a progression of improvements. There have been a number of people who have been on the Recreation Commission that have done a nice job, not to leave anyone out, but among a few that I've had the pleasure of working with: Mike Walsh, Frank Rossi, Bill Degnan, Ed Zazzali, and of course others. A number of things that came to mind that they have done that have had an impact on our organization, and I believe other youth sports organizations as well. Upgrades to Kramer Manor Field for soccer, basketball, baseball. Upgrades to Farley, also soccer, basketball, baseball. Upgrades to Brookside, men's softball, baseball, basketball, other events. Upgrades to Jerseyland, which was a little unsafe, I guess, at one point. Now soccer, men's baseball, softball, basketball, and events. They've got the pavilion there. That's been done. New construction at Memorial, new construction with Southside. So the question that occurs to a lot of us is, why the proposal to disband? We think it's a bad idea. We think it's a rush to judgment. I believe it was a few weeks ago, maybe a month or two ago, that the subject came up, and there was some assurance that it was not on anybody's agenda to consider such a proposal, and yet here we are considering the proposal. So I wanted to make our concerns known. We feel that the fact that it was not on anybody's agenda means that there's probably more research that could be done. Our organization certainly wasn't consulted. It probably isn't a mandatory thing that the council would need to consult with every youth sports organization, but we certainly were consulted with. Can't speak for anybody else, but I don't think the impacted organizations should be left out of this, because we're going to, with our volunteer team, spare a lot of the impact.
30 seconds.
Sure. The commission has been very successful for over 50 years. I believe there's some new council members that don't have too much experience in Scotch Plains. We think it should be looked in a little bit more. We don't want to introduce politics and bureaucracy into the Rec Commission. That is something that we feel has been one of the purposes that's been served very well by the Commission. We have a responsibility to provide affordable recreation outlets for our youth. If we put government in charge of it and roll funds into general fund, we think that's a bad idea. Thank you very much.
Mr. Kaufman, thank you for coming out. I just wanted to make something clear to you. Last year, I know that comment because I've heard it recently. It was not on this council. I've never taken it up as a discussion matter. Therefore, it was not on the radar of this council. It is the former council. So I just want to make that clear. It had not been. But also, I want to point out something. There's but one change that's taking place. I'm not sure if you're aware of that. The only change is that the manager of the recreation department will now, under this change, report to our township municipal manager, just as our police department chief does, our fire department chief, our CFO, and every other manager within this operation. It's the only change. The people who are on the commission, we are hopeful and expecting them to serve as continuously as part of the committee. And as you may be certainly aware, in the past, the Recreation Commission members were appointed not by this council, so there was no politics, it was by the manager. They will continue to be appointed by the manager going forward. As I said, there's but one change, significant change that's happened here, and that is that one individual, the manager of that group, no different than the police chief, the fire chief, or as I mentioned, the CFO, will report directly to the manager who has responsibility for the $28 million municipal budget, sir. I just want to make that clear.
Did I?
Yeah, it's, we're not, you've had your, I just want to give everybody a chance to speak, but if you have something.
Just very quickly, Mayor, I appreciate that.
No, I appreciate your being here.
Thank you. I think we're still concerned about it because I think the question that looms for a lot of us is why. So maybe that's going to be explained tonight.
Well, there'll be discussion on it later. When the ordinance comes up, it's being introduced tonight. So please stick around, and certainly I hope that question gets answered to your satisfaction.
Mayor?
Yeah, sure.
Mr. Kaufman, I'm not sure about your schedule this evening, just in the event that you won't be with us for the entire evening. I just did want to offer up this one piece. Obviously, I was present as well at the October 21st meeting. And I just would encourage you, maybe as a refresher, to watch through, let's say, the first 15 minutes of the meeting, because I think I was entirely clear that evening that maybe some of the comments made from this dais didn't necessarily reflect my viewpoints on the issue. And I believe Mr. Duthie probably remembers that conversation well. So it'd only take the first 15 minutes. The video is on the website. I was candid in October, and I'll continue to be very straightforward with the residents of this community about my concerns. But thank you, really, very sincerely, for all that you do. I know the hours that you put in, and on a personal level, I appreciate it tremendously.
Mr. Kaufman, again, thank you for coming out. And, I know I've worked with you in the past, and hopefully we'll continue to do such.
Mayor, are we allowing for council comment at this
No,
point?
we just, no.
Here's the deputy mayor had the opportunity for council comment. If
It's no problem.
I'd just like to point out for folks that are aware that the resolution here does have a lot more to it than just changing the reporting structure. There's a lot in this resolution in terms of disbanding all contracts or anything that has been put in place by the Recreation Commission in the past. So I'd really encourage people to read everything that's in this ordinance. Thanks.
That is true, and not to get into a debate with you, but clearly the significant changes here is the director of recreation will now report to the manager. That's the substantive change that is taking place.
That's a significant change of it.
Thank you, Councilman. Next.